Hey guys, so I just got back from seeing The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug in high frame rate 3D. Um, I've been looking forward to this movie a lot. Even though in my last review of Frozen, I did say I wasn't looking forward to seeing it and sitting in the theater for 3 hours. Even though, despite that, I was looking forward to this. I mean, I liked the other films, and also I was kind of happy to find out earlier today that the running time for this movie was the shortest running time of the whole series, and the fact that this movie runs at like 2 hours and 40 minutes, which is still pretty long, but that's shorter than anything the trilogy produced, and also it was 10 minutes shorter than the first Hobbit. So I was kind of looking forward to that. And like obviously you can tell, I did have had issues with the film series and their lengths. That's the only reason that I've liked these movies and not loved them, is that I think these movies could be cut down immensely. I don't know why, but I think Peter Jackson just doesn't have a really good editor. I mean, it's a good another good example is the freaking King Kong remake. And good God, that movie is 3 hours long, and the first hour is really boring. But I really enjoy that movie. Like when the movie gets an hour in, and they actually get to the island. That's the only time when it really gets interesting. Um, but I like Peter Jackson as a director. I always have. And my favorite film of his is Dead Alive. It's not the Lord of the Rings films. It's Dead Alive. That's still a great fucking movie. You've never seen that movie. By God, watch that. If you're a horror fan, watch that movie. What the hell is wrong with you? Haven't seen that if you're a horror fan. But this one, I kind of like the trailers for this one because I'm like, all right, maybe this is going to be a lot more actiony than the first Hobbit. And, I can understand why the first Hobbit wasn't very action packed. And that's mainly because they had to introduce all these characters, and that's fine by me. And this one looked like it could be better. And, yeah, you know what? I enjoyed this film after having just came out of it. I did enjoy this film. I did have some of the same issues, had a lot of the same issues that I had with like the original trilogy and also the Hobbit movie, but also had a lot of positives. To the point that I enjoyed it. I honestly, one of the big positives is that I didn't feel the length of this movie. I didn't feel like I sat there for 3 hours. I kind of went by pretty fast. It kept my interest enough that I wasn't bored by it. One of the things I like about the Hobbit movies more than I do the original Lord of the Rings trilogy is the fact that it has a better heroic lead. Bilbo Baggins, in my opinion, is a lot more convincing of being a heroic lead than Frodo. Frodo, is my opinion, is a pussy. He looks like he has to cry half the time. And let's face it, Frodo, basically, if it wasn't for people like Sam and the rest of the Fellowship, he wouldn't be alive. There's no way, and he really serves no purpose other than to carry that goddamn ring, which anybody really could have. Let's face that. And honestly, fuck, we could have had one of the eagles, those fucking famous eagles. You don't know what I'm talking about. They could have had one of the eagles throw it in the fire that always would pop up. Those famous eagles that pop up out of inconvenient times. Honestly, anybody could have thrown that damn ring in the fire. There was no point to Frodo. He's just a pussy. But you know what? Bilbo is a lot more convincing. I like him. He actually, at points in this film and also the second film, actually is more competent than dwarves themselves. I mean, he actually saves a lot of them a lot of times because he has some intelligence about him. And Martin Freeman is really great. I like him a lot, and I like him a lot more than I do Elijah Wood. I know I'm probably gonna get crap for saying all this stuff about Frodo, but I don't. It's just I don't care for Bilbo, or I don't care for Elijah Wood, and I don't care too much for Frodo either. But I really enjoy him. Martin Freeman and Bilbo Baggins a lot in this film, like I did in the first Hobbit. Also, I really enjoy everybody's favorite character, Gandalf. Gandalf is really great in this film. I also thought it was really funny. Like 30 minutes into this movie, he kind of ventures off from the rest of the group, which was really weird. I didn't expect that. From what somebody told me, I think about a year ago, is that he does that in the book, and then like you don't ever see him for a while in the book until like later on, and I'm like you never see what he's doing. Well, this movie is different in the fact that you do see what he's doing, and the whole point of his what he's doing is basically just to find out what's going on with the origins of Sauron and the orcs and all stuff like that. The orcs are rising and Sauron's trying to rise back to power, and it's like you really don't need that. Honestly, it's one of those really pointless things about this movie that don't need to be there, but it's fine because it's also has just because it has Gandalf and Gandalf's awesome. I have no issue with that those scenes. There's a lot more pointless stuff in this movie that bothered me than that did. Also, I really, really enjoyed Smaug. I'm not gonna lie, that was a great character. I love the interaction between him and Bilbo towards the end. I think there could have been a whole movie with those two and their interactions. It was really good. I liked that scene. And there was some intense moments, like like see how the hell Bilbo was gonna get out of this. I liked that, and I also didn't hurt that freaking Benedict Cumberbatch was voicing him. I don't know if you can find a more intimidating voice to do, to have a person to do that voice. That was really good. He he was really creepy and like really scary. Also, I really enjoyed the look of Smaug. One thing you can always compliment Peter Jackson is that he makes some really great CGI characters, and this one's no different. I mean, he made Gollum. I would say Gollum's a lot better looking, but this one is pretty impressive too. I think this was really well done, a really well done looking character. But while I do have, those are positives and stuff like that, I can't really think of any other positives off the top of my head. I know there were a lot of negatives about this film that I couldn't ignore, like stuff that just I couldn't ignore that bugged me after I saw the film. Mainly pointless fucking characters, and this is always the problem I have with the Lord of the Rings trilogy as a whole. Two characters I could name that were really pointless and served no purpose in this film were Legolas and the elf chick. I don't remember her name, but I just remember the elf chick that Legolas supposedly has a love interest with. Legolas, I don't know what the fuck the point of him being in this movie was for. I don't know if he's in the book. Maybe he is, and maybe I'm just nitpicking. But there's no point other than having him in here, other than just to say, hey, remember that guy? He was in the original films. I mean, they did the same thing with the first Hobbit, with Christopher Lee and Hugo Weaving and Kate Blanchett, which I heard half those people weren't even in the original book, so that makes that pointless. But even despite that, I still like their parts in it, and I really don't care for Orlando Bloom. And you know what? Honestly, I couldn't give two shits if Legolas was in this movie, and I really don't. But I would have given a shit if he actually had a point, and really doesn't, other than him just being in there. And there's a lot of references to the original trilogy in this film. Also, there's one really groan-worthy scene where the dwarves get kidnapped by the elves, and Legolas is looking for the one dwarves, it looks like a pocket watch or something like a locket or something. I don't know what the hell it is. It's like a big ass locket looking thing, and like on one side there's a picture of his wife, and on the other side is a picture of his son. And Legolas looks at the picture of his wife and goes, "Who's this girl?" He's like, "That's my wife." And he looks at the boy and he goes, "Who's this hideous beast?" And he said, "That's my boy Gimli." And like they pan over to Legolas, and he has this like smirk on his face, like you just half expect him to wink at the camera, and it's just so dumb. It's just like, ugh. It's like you really didn't need that. I didn't realize that was Gimli's dad until I saw a special feature. I never read the books, so I didn't catch on to that until after I saw the special features for the first movie. Also, while I bitch about Legolas, Lacey, the most pointless character in my opinion was that female. There was no point to her. And then I find out later on that she wasn't even in the books. They added her. She was just a character they added for the hell of it. And I would have been fine with that if she had some purpose, but she doesn't. There's no point to her, other than be some kind of love interest for Legolas and this other dwarf. And, have a love triangle between her, Legolas, and a dwarf. That's it. There's no point to it. I don't know if there's going to be a resolution to that story, because she's not even in the original book, so are they just going to make up some kind of weird resolution to it? I don't know. And the third one, I really don't give a shit either way, but whatever. There's no... I guess somebody said the reason why they added her was to add some kind of female empowerment role, into a series that had, mainly guy heroes and no female heroes. I mean, I guess you could say Liv Tyler and stuff was a female hero, and so was Kate Blanchett. I don't know what the hell they're bitching about, but whatever. I just didn't give a shit about her character. It was pointless. And also, really, the stuff with the Gandalf and was kind of like I said, it was pointless. And there was they're trying to have this mystery about who is the orcs boss, or who is controlling the orcs and stuff like that. And you're like, you know who the fuck it is. You saw the original trilogy. You know it's Sauron. There's no mystery to it. Fuck off. Quit trying to make it like it's a mystery. We know who it is. And surprise, surprise, Sauron kind of pops up at the end. Spoiler alert. But it's just that was stupid. Why do I need to, and I don't know where we're going with that, because they kind of hint at the end that there's more to it come the third movie. I'm like, well, where can they go from here? I don't know. I've got interested. But then also, before I get into the high frame rate, I want to talk about the ending. The ending to this movie, I understand. I understand this is a... Sorry. Oh, man. I understand this is the second film in a trilogy. You gotta have a kind of cliffhanger ending. I understand that. And also the first Hobbit had a cliffhanger ending. At least that kind of had an ending. This movie just ends. Literally, it cuts to black and you're like, that movie's fucking over? Really? When it ends when it's really getting good. And I'm like, God damn it. It kind of pisses me off, because then I'm sitting there thinking yeah, I'm pretty goddamn certain this movie was made to be 2 films. Because originally, if you don't know the production of this film, this movie was originally made to be 2 films, not 3. And then, somewhere in post-production of the first one, they were like, let's make this 3 films, because it worked so much for the first trilogy. So, I don't know. It's you can tell there are points in these films that are you could just fucking edit so much out, and you can make this 2 films. There's no reason for these movies to be 3 films. I mean, this is the shortest book of this series, and there's, why make 3 films out of just 1 book? I don't understand that. I don't. But I guess that's me talking about the film portion of this film. I guess, or this review. I guess it's time to talk about high frame rate. This movie, the high frame rate format is something that's I've been really interested about. I know it debuted with the first movie, and it got a lot of divisive reviews. People have been really divided about this. I mean, people have been putting their 2 cents in left and right, and I was really hyped when I heard my movie theater was finally getting that format this time, because I was like, I'm going to finally get a chance to see it and be able to form my own opinion of it, and maybe it's going to be different than a lot of other people's, and I was really anticipating having my own opinion about it. I'll tell you this. I have a huge fucking headache from this movie because of the high frame rate. Yeah. This movie, this format, it has some positives, and I'll go right into the positives right now. The positives. This movie, the high frame rate makes the 3D in this movie look incredible. Holy crap. You know, that was my complaint about the first Hobbit, was that the 3D, I saw it in regular 3D, and I thought the 3D looked terrible. This one, with the high frame rate, the 3D looks incredible. The picture is crisp. It looks amazing. I do agree. I do see what people say that, like, it looks like the picture is too crisp, and it makes it look like it's a TV movie or something like that. I can understand that. I can see the similarities, what they're talking about. But I didn't have a problem with the picture. I thought the picture looked really good. It's just, I mean, this is a technology you can tell that needs some work, but once it gets better, once it that gets tinkered with a little bit more, it could be really good. Especially with 3D movies. Let's talk about the negatives. Like I said, I got a fucking headache from seeing this movie in the high frame rate. And that's mainly because when you have a format where it's going to double the speed of a normal film, and you got, say, scenes where there's a lot of action going on. See, with these films, you got a competent director with them, with these films. And with a competent director like Peter Jackson, he knows how to film an action scene where it's not shaky cam and all stuff like that, and you can tell what's going on. But when you had a normally shot action scene with high frame rate, it makes it feel like you're watching shaky cam, because I could not tell what the fuck was going on half the time with this, because it was going so fast. Like, the frame was going so fucking fast, I couldn't tell what was going on. Especially a scene where they're in the barrels and they're going down the river, like at a rapid river race that they're having with these barrels. And I also causes a really unintentionally funny moment where, while they're going at like a rapid pace, like normally they would be going at a rapid pace with normal film rate of film high with a normal film, it would be like them going on a rapid pace. This looks like a Benny Hill sketch, because they're going, vroom, they're just like zooming by. It's like really funny. Like, you ever see those Benny Hill sketches? Like, it's like, it feels like you're watching a movie on fast forward when that's going on. It looks unintentionally funny because of that. There are points it just feels like it's so rushed because, like, the high frame rate, like the pans and stuff like that across landscapes is so fast and everything else. It's really crazy. The problem is like I said, the fucking action sequences are really, they're you can't tell what's going on because of this damn format, and it ruins the movie for you. And honestly, it kind of did. I ruined my enjoyment from it. I think I would have liked it a lot better if I see it in regular format when it comes on DVD. It takes away from the film, and honestly, it does distract you at first, because you notice the difference right away from like the first shot. You're like sitting there like just baffled at it. I'm like kind of just like baffled at it. I wasn't paying attention to the movie. It kind of does take away from it, the movie, for a little bit, and it does distract you. But once I got used to it, it helped. When the movie, like when there was just simple dialogue scenes and this camera, there was no action going on, the high frame rate was fine. But when it got to the action scenes, it was ridiculous. I just couldn't stand it. I had a headache about an hour into the movie, and I got like, even the scene where the last action scene with Smaug was kind of really hard to follow and see it was really hard to tell what was going on. It was really annoying. I kind of really split as much as a lot of people, or I'm about as split as a lot of people are with this technology. It is really cool looking, and I see a lot of advantages to it, like the 3D looking really good. But by God, when a technology's making you have a headache, that's not a good thing. Really isn't. Uh, I think they need to fix that. They need to do some tinkering with it before they this could be a future. This could have a future in film, but they need to do a lot of work to fix it. I mean, I don't know. I would recommend if you are curious to see it in high frame rate, bring some Tylenol. That's why I told a buddy. I was like, go see this movie. If you want to see, they were telling me they wanted to see it in IMAX. And IMAX is all, the only format IMAX has is 3D and high frame rate. So it's like, yeah, I'd recommend you bring some Tylenol with you while you're watching that. If you're gonna see it in IMAX, that will give you a headache. He's like, all right, dude. He's like, I take your word for it. I'm like, all right, just trust me, man. You're gonna need it. I don't. I was sitting there thinking about it after I got done. I was like, do I want to watch the next one in high frame rate? I don't know if I do. If I do, I'm gonna bring some Tylenol or something like that with me, because I cannot take that. Yeah, I recommend this movie. I kind of recommend you maybe just go. Honestly, if I were to recommend what format to go see it in, go see it in 2D. Unless you're really curious about the high frame rate, like you are, like I am. Maybe I'm the only one that gets a headache from that format. I've heard people get motion sickness, so you know what? I can understand why people are getting motion sickness, and I can see where the complaints are coming from. I really, I guess, like, I really wish I would be kind of, like I said, there are positives. I wish I was more positive about that format, and I was hoping I would be more positive when I came out of it, but I wasn't. Also, before I get off, I did get a couple good trailers. I did get the new 300 Rise of an Empire, and somebody please explain this to me. Is this a prequel or is this a sequel to 300? I was told it was a prequel, but this movie has a lot of elements that make me think this is a sequel to 300. I don't know. Man, I'm really confused. Somebody tell me in the comments. It looks alright. The 3D actually looked really good. It's going to be in 3D, and that actually looked really good in 3D. I'll have to maybe check that out in 3D. I mean, 300 should be really good in 3D. What else did I get? Oh, something called Edge of Tomorrow of Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt, where it's like, it's a really weird trailer. I didn't really get that. It was like an alien invasion movie mixed with like source code, and like where Tom Cruise keeps like having dreams where he's in battle and then dies and then wakes up and then goes back to sleep and goes into battle. It's really weird. I don't know. That's what I got out of it. It looked really weird, but it looked really good. It's like, why is Tom Cruise now doing all these sci-fi movies like Oblivion and this? Alright. I like Tom Cruise, so whatever. I didn't see Oblivion. I wanted to see it. I heard really good things about it. Amazing Spider-Man 2 trailer I did get. I saw that earlier this week. I really enjoyed that trailer. I think it looks really good. I'm worried, a little worried about it, because am I the only one who thinks this might be Spider-Man 3 all over again? And the fact that we got way too many fucking villains and a lot of characters being introduced, that this might be a little too much of an overload, like Spider-Man 3 was. And we might have a big piece of shit like Spider-Man 3 was. I hope not. It's got a great cast. It's got like Paul Giamatti as Rhino, Jamie Foxx as Electro, Chris Cooper, that kid who was in that the Chronicle movie, I forgot his name is, it was really, really good. Everybody's back, like, Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone. I mean, it looks like it'll be good. And I keep hearing rumors of, like, it's going to be like a Sinister Six is going to come out of this movie, which is kind of cool. And then, as a surprise, I got a trailer for Christopher Nolan's new movie that don't come out till next year. That was a surprise. Interstellar, which it was a teaser trailer, and you didn't know what the hell was going on, other than it just had Matthew McConaughey basically monologuing about space travel and also like the advancements of mankind. And then all I got from it is that some reason Matthew McConaughey is going into space. All right, it's like sold. It was a beautiful looking trailer. It looked really good. It's from Christopher Nolan, and then it said at the end of it, coming soon, 1 year from now, or something like that. Like, all right, like it's Nolan. I like Nolan a lot as a director. He's one of my favorite directors out there, and I'm always interested anytime he makes a new movie. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's it, I guess, for me today to do anything for me to talk about. Go see Hobbit. I would recommend seeing it in 2D, and if you're curious, maybe high frame rate. If you're curious, but bring some Tylenol with you. I'll be back next week, hopefully with American Hustle. I don't know when I will be back. I know it comes out on Wednesday. But if I don't get around to seeing it on Wednesday, I will go see it on Friday. And also, I want to try and maybe get around to seeing Best Man Holiday, which is just came to the cheap movie theater. Which I never saw the first one, but it's getting good reviews, so maybe I'll catch up on the first one before I see this one. So I'll be back with one of those two within the next week or so, and I'll talk to you guys later.